Right, everyone, hello, and welcome back. Welcome back to some good old PRF1 racing action at a rather luxurious racing track of Spa de Francorchamps. Not quite the Spa day that some people would be hoping for, but hey ho, this is the Spa day that our drivers are definitely looking forward to. This lovely 19 corner track with brilliant chances of overtaking down into turn 1 at La Source and into the Lacombe chicane of turn 5, 6 and 7 with the assist of the two DRS zones, the one on the start for the straight and the one just after Rouge and Radion. Track follows. Oh, I've just realised I've left that on. Let's fix that. So again, we are as prompt as ever. Expect nothing less. Boom. Problem solved. Oh dear. That's it, like I say, it's a very legendary circuit in the historics of Formula 1, the longest circuit on the calendar, where drivers will have to navigate 22 laps. But first, they have a full qualifying format to determine the order for said race. Where we're going to talk some interesting changes to the standings. First of all, we'll look at the drivers' standings, where unfortunately Axel managed to secure a 3-race win victory streak, come to an end by one Master Spread, who picked up his first race win in the season last time out at the lovely Zander Newt circuit. So he picks up the first race win, ending Axel's streak. He's joined second highest record in terms of PRF1 records. I think the record for most consecutive wins, if I remember looking through the stuff, is with Sergeant Camero, 5 race wins in a row back in season 7. So we're even talking a different F1 game back then. Quite a long time ago now, actually. Crikey. How time flies, he says. We've also got some other people start to pick up points, such as Scott. Remember, he had a pretty good time in Saudi Arabia, where he picked up a podium, and you can see the result that's had on his hands. He's now up in 6th place. However, his next race didn't go as well. Be looking forward to potentially seeing him try and get back up there in that deep in that midfield row. That midfield battle is going to be a key one to watch all throughout the season, I reckon, simply because of how much closer the field is when you're within the DRS range of another car. Not necessarily by the fact of the DRS. DRS, as we know, isn't that powerful nowadays. It's mostly because of how people are using their battery deployment, and that has made, I think, the biggest change in terms of how these races are running. That is the biggest terms of talking about. Axel, like I say, still at the top by quite a bit of distance over rival Josh Godwin in P2, and Master Spread following up rear after that significant win. It's brought him back closer to that top fight. And then you got another bit of gap to the rest of that midfield, which is very tight indeed. Tightest part goes from Curse all the way down to likes of Chuck Norris and Dart Ward. Might not be a lot of points to the ball, but points are obviously scored down to 15th. Every position counts, especially further towards the top where you get the big boy points, as you can see there. In terms of the constructors' standings, Sauber still lead the way, 40 points ahead of Red Bull, and Aston Martin just breathing down Red Bull's neck. I think the thing to point out here is what we've got a lot of at the moment in terms of looking at the driver standings compared to where the teammates are, is a lot of people are just stepping here, there and everywhere. The teammates are, you've got one that's quite higher up the order, and then you've got one that's much lower down the order. It's sort of accidentally balanced, if you know what I'm saying in terms of that sort of picture. It is an interesting conundrum, that's safe to say. But one thing that is sure is Sauber have been able to maintain their lead. They've been caught up the last round by a slight margin, but they have got such a big gap at the moment. All it takes is a DNF from top scorer Axel to really bring them back in with the grasp of the other teams, especially when they start capitalising on results. Speaking of results, here is the on-track action. Axel isn't the first one on track today, it's Theo. Theo's beating him out for the first run of this lovely circuit. Well, maybe not so lovely sounding for our car. The only thing that disappoints me on this game is the car sounds are dreadful. But enough of that. Here is the first flying lap of the session of the Q1. It's Theo heading down into the source, heavy braking zone here. Going to get right tucked into the apex and almost let it run naturally wide towards the curbs for you. Powering, heading up, towards the hills of Arouge and Radion, keeping it as pinned as you can. Minimal steering input to try and not lose too much top speed. And then it's that little dash straight towards the chicane. Go on board then. See if he takes this wide. Takes it close to the inside. He's gone a little bit wide from first apex. It's compromised him a little bit in terms of the run for the rest of it. Avoiding the new gravel traps on the outside for launching it down towards turn 8. Coming up to turn 9. Again, new gravel trap, which just about clips. Not what you want to do, it's going to date up that tyre, which is coming up to a crucial corner. P1 nearly completely, utterly flat in this game due to the significant downforce increase when at higher speeds. Again, new curb profiling, more gravel traps, getting into a lot more areas where you've got to be careful. Trap limits are going to not only give you warnings, they're going to give you dirt on your tyres and potentially a spin into the barriers or into path of another oncoming car. It's happened before, and you would probably potentially see it here. 19 drivers, obviously. Through what's that launch I think? I can't remember then. Bus stop chicane going around here. Hello, Apple, welcome to the chat. That's the final corner, pretty steady going, not too progressive on the throttle. It's a 1:43.6. And looking at the chats, dare I say, I think they're going to be going significantly quicker. Here's this man, Axel, teammate of Theo, who's building up towards the end of his flying lap. And another thing we've got to point out in this first season, obviously there's going to be a lot of drivers still figuring out where they can deploy the overtake on their qualifying lap, where they can save the battery potentially. You know, the overall battery optimization for a single hot lap, and also the race. Still a lot of playing around with that stuff, obviously early days of the game, which, if no one knows, that's extended season 2 of the old Podium Pass. So Axel goes straight to the top on a 42.5, Godwin down on a 43.7, and down quite a significant amount. Here's another driver I kind of want to go on board with, Curse. We know he's got some pretty decent pace, as we see that Lord has retired. Didn't even notice that's happening, so I wonder whether or how that's happened. Didn't even notice it, my apologies. So downhill braking, big lock up on the front right. It's not going to do it any favours in terms of overheating potentials. Gets right up to the edge of that gravel trap, taking a wide entry into P1, and then they keep it completely pinned, touching the brakes through there. Now this elongated chicane here, gotta be careful not playing too much throttle through the first part, otherwise you go wide and onto the grass. Again, still locking up, we're still seeing that, and we'll probably still see it from quite a fair bit while these drivers get going to, ABSing, where no ABS for the first time. A lot of people going for this game simply because it's a little bit easier than normal. Although for me, no ABS is something that I do not have the brain capacity to comprehend it. Into the chicane, he's already used up the deployment, so acceleration is going to be pretty slow towards the line here. But where is it going to put him? Into P2 and right behind Axel. That's the closest I think we've seen it at the top between them two. which is good news in terms of having someone very much there on Axel pace. I mean, even in the race, we've seen, you know, Axel being in that, you know, sort of top 3, top 4 battle. But I think even in the end, he's still biding his time. He's still taking it a bit more easier than some of the other drivers in terms of how his tyre wear's been looking compared to the rest around him. He's obviously got plenty of pace in the hand. Just trying to think where he can use it wisely. Obviously the L factor of DRS being enabled off the first lap, people using different battery techniques, it makes it so much harder to break away from the chasing car. But as soon as you do it around here, oh! Half spin for Robbo, puts him in line perfectly to go back into the pits. Pit lane could be catching out some people here as well, in fairness. Scott then, I say P6 in the driver's standings, got one podium to his name after a lovely race in Saudi Arabia for him. Showed a great pace and more importantly, pretty good consistency. However, the mistakes still can creep in sometimes, and sometimes the pace just isn't always fully strong. It's still a very much track dependent type of situation as he goes wide onto the gravel. These times are going to be a bit too dirty than around peak grip coming around here, but he's sort of managed it fairly well. Too much curb on the exit, and again running just shy of the gravel trap. We've got to be careful. That is a key struggle points for in terms of track limits. And now continuing on 12 and 13 down towards turns 14 and 15. He's got to keep it pinned over here. Sometimes even when you've got a full fuel load, you can keep pinned, but you just got to be careful. You've got to have the confidence as well. Sometimes it can look like that you're going to go a bit too wide and off the track into the gravel, but you know, keep pinned. It will eventually just turn in more weirdly. At least I find it like that. But you gotta have the balls. It's all balls here. Scott, 44.8. A little bit off, but ahead of his teammate who's on 45.0. Dare I say he might be going again. Jesus in the Haas. Jesus. We know qualifying hasn't been a strong point. We know his usually strong points come in the race. But I have to say, it's looking a little bit off in terms of pace from the previous game. So the previous game there were tracks where he could really excel at. He's had a race wins in FPR 100 and he's come up with some pretty good performances, good overtaking through the back of the field. But just haven't seen too much of it. He's had, you know, I think the one race where he's not too bad, just biding his own time, staying out of trouble. I think that was against Saudi Arabia. A lot of these other drivers had a pretty good run through there. But again, we're just not seeing it too much. I mean, it's still early days. It's only round 5 out of this 20-round calendar. We're just waiting to see him really click and bounce back on. We know he can do it. Let's see if you can find the pace. And at the moment, P7, 44.0. Not too shabby. To be fair, low 44 or high 43 could be the sort of cut-off time here. We've still got people running in 45s. Vice, Davy Norris, Atkins. Whale, not really a representative that time around, but he is coming across the line again. And it looks like it could be a 44. Yep, it is going to be a 44. So to be fair, my cut-off prediction there might be more of a Q2 cut-off prediction. We're still getting used to these new situations. We'll put it down to that. Robo Snipes, go for it again. And so is his teammate, Psycho Lenny. He's a bit close toward the end of his lap, so let's have a look at him. I'll say a little bit. We haven't done too much on board action with him during qualifying sessions. Another driver who's pretty quick. Took that a little bit too quick. Got away with it by lifting off the throttle completely when going off the track. a good handy tip for those that might do it in the race as well. A big lift off, so you're not even touching the accelerator, just to try and make sure you don't get the warning or the invalidations of yourself away, but you're also going to lose a bit of time, especially in qualifying. In terms of the race, worth it. A warning gets you close to risk of a 3-second time penalty, rather lose a few tenths instead of 3 seconds. That is the key professional tip. Axel retires at the top. Understandably, only 2 drivers in the 42s, and quite comfortably ahead of the likes of Tom, Theo, and Godwin. And again, point out we're seeing Theo right up there again. I mean, last time we did see him get quite up there. In terms of, I think it was Saudi Arabia, if I think off the top of my head. Yes, it was. In terms of qualifying pace, the race pace really did disappear on him, unfortunately. But all is not lost. Robbo then, 44.6. A couple of tenths ahead of his teammate who did have that off at P1. And dare I say he's got probably at least another half second in down that. So, nearly every driver, bar spread, and also Dantlord, but he is currently out of the session, has set lap times, so guaranteed Dantlord out. Not progressing into the next session. But there's still another 3 places to be knocked out from. Top 15 goes through into the next Q2 session. As, the late cover of Harry also gets in, so he's now got a chance, and a very short chance, but a chance nevertheless. So another 4 drivers then could be coming out here. Currently sat in the danger zone, Psycho Lenny on a 44.8. He's got to find his way a little bit further upfield to get him confidently through a low to mid 44. Gonna be needed here. Spread, gonna need just not invalidate. We know he's got the pace to easily cruise into Q3. It's very rare. Got 1 or 2 maybe miss-ups, and we'll see him on a few different circuits where he'll struggle to get into Q3, but overall shouldn't be a problem for this man. Using very high revs. Well, actually, it's kind of the first time I've seen it in fairness. But again, I'm a bit of career mode merchant. I'm used to using a lower revs than normal, simply because he saved the engine parts, especially on the ICE. It's crucial in career modes, but in terms of league racing, you can really push into high revs. It burns the fuel off a bit more as well. Fuel burning seems to be non-existent in most of these tracks. So yeah, spreads the fastest, 43.6, easy through. But that does drop Cycling out and into the drop zone, and now Scott hangs around at that danger zone. He's come back out on track, same with Atkins. Harry's immediately come out on track as well in the Mercedes. Still Davey Norris and Cycle Lemmy in the pits, and they do need to think about coming up fairly soon here. I would try and ask what time was that. I need to quickly get the app back open because we're still seeing these. Oh no, but 2 minutes 40 seconds. I was going to say, when's that not shifting? 2 RBs playing a bit of grab house with each other. Are they potentially going to try and go for decent towing? Both of them need to set the lap here, quite crucially. So they can't afford distracting each other. So one of these guys has got to back off. But who's going to play the front pole puncher in this situation? Arguably, it makes more sense that Scott is. He's a bit quicker than Atkins so far. But on the other hand, you can see why he doesn't really want to be doing that, and they are going to be playing grab ass here. Both RBs running very close together. Atkins is going to go face for the dirty air through the corners, but is the tow going to be good enough to kind of outclass that? I think it could potentially backfire being that close to your teammates, but we shall see. We'll keep an eye on the delta times, as they're going to be crucial here as they blast up towards the Lecombe chicane. I was right first time. Having a complete malfunction. What's that going to do? It goes very well. So, both RBs, a 31.6 for Scott, 31.3 for Atkins in the first sector. Toe there, done pretty well. Sector 2 though, as well, we'll find out, is the dirty air has affected it just a little bit too much for these guys. They're continuing down though. Past Puon they both go. Everything's looking pretty clear so far. And now, quickly through the chicane, and you can kind of almost see Atkins having to work a little bit harder in the background. We go on board with Atkins. So 44.6 for Scott, 44.3 for Atkins. So Scott actually the one who's struggling on this lap compared to his teammate. Out at top, Harry pops it into P10, gets himself clear from that drop zone. Scott's now dropped down into it. Robbo on the cusp. Dre staying in the pits, and the Mercedes has retired. Atkins goes 12th fastest. Scott didn't improve, and the battery isn't quite all there. He is going to have to give it absolutely everything, especially through the corners. He doesn't have the overtake to assist him. Checkered flag is out. A whale has also missed an opportunity. In the drop zone we have Robbo, Scott, Cycle Lemmy and Davey Norris. It's unusual to see a big name like Cycle Lemmy. He is a pretty good driver. Sort of roughly pointing around the sort of spreads pace. But he's a bit out there. Vice has also done quite well. He's up in P9 at the moment in the Williams. Getting fairly close to his teammate. Within 410, within 5 tenths. It's pretty good. So looking at the sets times for all these guys in the bottom drop zone. 31.2 for Robbo. 32.2 for Scott. 31.3 for Cycle Lemmy, 31.4 for the Haas of Davey Norris. So it's an advantage to Robbo in terms of that little battle, but he's lost out a bit in the second sector compared to Lemmy and Davey Norris. Here comes Cycle Lemmy out the final chicane. Heading down across the line where he goes 14th fastest, knocks out the Mercedes driver. Davey Norris doesn't improve enough, stays 19th fastest. Robbo goes up to 13th. Akadre is out. And Scott is not improving. He's coming into the pits. So Scott is out. Man who's in 6th place in the championship at the moment is out of qualifying. Disappointment there for Scott. Davey Norris just underperforming there. Jatlord also not setting a green lap. And Yasito, I think that's how you pronounce that. Out as well, and a big shock for Dre, who also goes out. Not coming back out and doing another lap was a risk. I'm gonna say needed a low to mid 144. Ideally, you probably wanted a low 144 to see yourself through. So, a couple of people there who were pretty disappointed with that performance. And as much as Cycle Lemmy did make it through, he does not seem comfortable. On a 44.4, down in 15th place, only just getting through into Q2. Spells a potential disaster for where he is not able to get through into the next session. Top 3 then from the first run of qualifying. We've got Axel in P1, Curse 2nd, Vapor went 3rd fastest in the McLaren. And looking at the drivers who were out of the first qualifying session, Datlord not setting a lap time, David Norris on a 1:45.1. Scott in the RB. Jacinto, oh, I don't know. The Mercedes driver. I'm gonna botch double all the way through. In 17th, and then obviously Dre in P16. Unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Rightio. So, Q2 begins. This is where we will see who makes it through into that top 10 shootout for pole position. At first, who can get through into that? And so far, in terms of looking at people who potentially might not make it, I have to say, it's not looking good for Cycle Lemmy. It's not looking good for both Red Bulls in fairness. Atkins might struggle to make the cusp. Looking at the rest, potentially Jesus advice, not 100% safe. Floyd as well, maybe not quite 100% safe, but people who were obviously 100% safe, we've got the likes of Mr. Axel. Topped the last session, closely followed though by Curse. And dare I say, these guys are going to be on used tyres. In fact, we can have a quick look here. Yes, so we can see Axel on used soft tyres from Q1. Anyone else running the used soft? Same for Vice. We can't tell for Theo. Can't tell for Godwin. Curse on used softs as well. That's crucial information. I think everyone's going on a used set. Oh no, Wales. Wales on a new set of tyres. He's on a new set of straight away. Sorry, it's going to get a bit glitchy there. Atkins unused. Tom also unused. So most people opt to go used. Whale, by looks things, the only driver who is, or that I can tell from, is on a new set of tyres. So, first up to the table on used softs, Axel. And he takes a wide entry to the far corner to get as much top speed. On towards turn when we go. Latest break as you possibly can just before the 50 meatball lock up on the front right. Sends him a little bit wayward, deeper than he would have liked to have gone there. It's not going to affect him too much. Uphill we go. Through Eau Rouge and Radgon. Before straightening it back out on the Von Camel straight here towards the Com chicane. Flicking it into turn 5. Here we go then. Break 50 metre board late as he can. Nail the apexes at 5 and 6. 7 taking a slightly wider line than normal. And then deep on the brakes for turn 8. Get it hooked very quickly. Get to this little bend of turn 9. Avoid the gravel and then on towards Pouon we go. Keep it completely pinned there. You can see on the photo not even a lift of any kind. All the speed gets shaved off when you're turning. And then you've got turn 12 and 13 chicane. Again, avoid the gravel on the exit and pin it through the last couple of corners of sector 2. It's looking pretty decent. 43 in the second sector, 31-0 in the first sector. The first sector's actually pretty damn good. Second sector you can see where the used tyre is probably struggling a little bit. On towards the bus stop chicane we go. Heaviest braking zone. Keeps in third gear. I'm taking note. For a blast down, sets a 42.5. Wow. A 42.5 on used tyres. That's a pretty good lap. Wales new tyres has achieved him a 43.3. Theo on the used a 44.2. Where does Curse go? Curse only does a 43.0. Wow. Wow. What does Godwin do? I reckon he's probably also on the used tyre as well. He's going to come up to the line. It's a 43.2. He did a actually better time than he did the last time. Not bad. But, well, yeah, fair fucks to Axel. That is a quick time. Here comes Vice. picked up the points on his first race last week. And picked up some points, which is crucial. We know his quality performance is better than his race pace. That is the last of the current timed runners. 44 slots behind Robbo. Who was that went up there? I think that was Tom in 4th place in the Alpine. Those are the said devices in Alpines and the Williams. They're all blue cars, you can't tell. Spread goes 6th fastest then, 43.8. I think you're gonna need a mid 43 here to get through safely, might I add. 43.2 from Harry in the Mercedes, and not too shabby, sir, not too shabby at all. And then Jesus and Cycle when we get to settle that, but Vapor is out. Again, completely missed that one. Completely and utterly missed that one, my apologies. And it was a crash on track as well at some point during the second sector, because he has set the first sector time. So, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But reference then on Jesus' lap at the moment, currently through the first sector, he is down by a couple of tenths on current top spot Axel. Let's see how his sector 2 will compare as he goes round Pouon. Quite comfortable through there. I think everyone's going to be comfortable through there, really, no matter what the circumstances, unless it's wet. Ooh, big lift off the throttle there as his Delta car starting to straddle a bit wide. And again, we're probably down by nearly a second on Axel's time now, which looking at that's going to put him around where spread is. It's all about how well he attacks this final chicane. Again, I've got to take note if I'm doing this in 3rd gear, I'm usually in the 2nd gear there. And yeah, slots just behind Master Spread there. 138.17. The next times the iron, that is where you get a little tiny bit of gap into the 144s. And then we're waiting on Psycho Lemmy, who is very down in the first sector. Can we see his tyre details? Yes, we can. It might be a potential new set of tyres on that one, not gonna lie. Fate 1.5 in the first sector, not ideal. Showing signs of really struggling out there. 45.4 in the second sector. It's not going this well. Evening Curse, how's it going? It's going quite well for you. You're in P2. Yeah, probably quite comfortably through. Not gonna lie. That's way all the way to Axel's, probably safely through into the top 10 shootout. Spread downwards on the other hand, you might want to get another lap in. Cycle Lemmy 45.2. That was definitely you set then. But he's not comfortable in that Red Bull. He is really struggling for pace. It's a big shock. Because he is normally around the type of spreads pace. So it's a very big shock. It's very far down the order. Could be in for an uncomfortable race. Which is a shame. For Red Bull, in terms of their points challenge at the top of the field and the constructors, trying to catch the Sauberts. Everyone pretty much peeling off into the pits. Bar Curse. He was come back out on track. Interesting. This will be, I reckon, a new set of tyres. I'm looking to try and challenge and take away the top step in this session for Axel. Like I say, just under 5/10 is the gap between them two, and then another 2/10 behind is Godwin, who's also come back out on track. And maybe these people are feeling as confidently through as I would have thought they might have felt. And in my defence, my predictions for cut-off times hasn't exactly been incorrect. They've been pretty spot on. But they're getting the laps in early as well, so they're avoiding all the potential traffic coming out in the very last couple of minutes of this session. Hopefully the Sauber that's come up will also stay out of the way. That's Theo, down in 10th place. We know he can go quicker than that. He's probably banged on another set of soft tyres. Says well ways will give the Ferrari a chance to go toe as he goes uphill and down towards the Belgium chicane. Let's have a look at the top speed he achieves here. Going in at 2.6, 206 before he reaches the braking zone. And it's 30.9 in the first sector. That's pretty quick. Tyres just sort of scrubbing all the way through. Turn 8 there. Not exactly ideal. As he heads through Pouon we go. Just one big bite of confidence in the turn in there. Absolutely spot on. Keeps it in 7th gear to not bother with upshift to 8th where you just sort of bottom out really in terms of top speed. Quick flick. It's 2.5 tenths up. The fastest, I can confirm that is the actual fastest second set time. 43.0. So carrying confidence in the corners. It is that the potential of a new set of tyres into the bus stop chicane, and sliding his way and all the way through the bus stop. That is not what he wants to be doing, and he lost it. No, he goes quickest. Well, that is how you do the bus stop chicane in style. Nearly went for the reverse entry. Tokyo Drift style through the bus stop. Oh, lovely. That was quite a lot. That was lovely. Absolute extraordinary car control. But he goes fastest overall. It's only just ahead of Axel. He's already retired. Next to try and find... Actually, you know what, Godwin, you don't get the airtime stone because this is one that's going to be quite interesting. Where does Theo go? He's done 31.1, which is 2/10 down on what Kirst did in the first sector. So that's not too bad at all. In fairness, that's pretty good. As he heads downhill now for the majority of the rest of this lap. Goes to 6th gear to help with the turning. To be honest, you get better acceleration in corner exit, I guess. So that's using actually a gear under than most other people. 43.9 in the second sector. We had a bit of what Kirst did. But not a bad sector at all. Could this be that? See him safely go through as he dives into the bottom chicane. Not quite going sideways as one and only Kirst was. And across the line, where's it going to go? 7th fastest, only just ahead of spread. The second sector wasn't too bad, but needed to be a little bit quicker. Everyone bar Floyd has come back out, so Floyd is rather firm in it in P10. He's in the driver at risk zone. Currently in the drop zone, we've got Atkins, Robbo, Vice, Cycle, and Vapor, who is already out of this session after what appears to be a potential earlier crash in sector 2, his first flying run. We're keeping it here with the spreader. We can see a Red Bull's about to come up towards the line now, heading past Belgium, my favourite corner of death in previous events. So that Rebel's going to come across the line. It's Psycho Lemmy who doesn't make it out the drop zone. Only manages to get 11th fastest. He is out of qualifying. And heading across the line next, it's Spread who improves to 6th fastest out of 43.3. That might do him quite well. Whale looks like he's completely backed off. Theo obviously not going round again. The Mercedes in the background doesn't look like he's going round again. Let's have a look at the other Red Bull of Robbo Snipes, who's 7/10 up. Needs just a little bit more. He's literally on the cusp of matching Floyd Pink's time, who is obviously still there in P10. Atkins trying to go for it, Vice trying to go for it, see if they can get themselves in Q3. Jesus 8th on a 43.7. That might just be enough. Round the final corner comes Robbo. Is he going to be able to take himself out? Yes, he does. 43.7. And Floyd is now dropped out. And now into the danger zone goes Theo. What can Atkins do? He's only up by a 10th according to that screen. Does he make it through? No. He's out. And in 13th place. What can Vice do? Doesn't make it. He's out in 12th, which means Theo has just made it through there in P10. May have got a bit of a gap, but he might have been shitting a few bricks as he started tumbling down the order there and stumbles his way into the pits. So, out. Like I say, disappointment for Psycho Lemmy. Atkins is probably going to be a little disappointed with himself. He could get a little bit further up the order, although I think either way he would have struggled to make it into Q3 there. Vice just didn't find the time in the end, and he finds himself in that drop zone. The top 3 from that session. Curse this time tops out a qualifying session for the first time in a while, ahead of Axel in P2 and Godwin in P3, getting closer with his second run on a 42.7. And out from this session, Floyd Pink in 11th, Vice 12th, Psycho Lemmy in the Rebel 13th, Atkins 14th, and Vapor P15. You didn't set a lap time. So now you have your battle for pole position. And as always, I'm still going to say it, your favourite here is still Axel. All eyes remain on him. He's the one that's been able to part some spectacular lap times. That'll still blow your socks off. Now what can he do? What time could he potentially get that Sabre up into? So far he's done 2 42.5s, one on new softs and one on slightly used softs. Dare I say, could he be in for a 42.3 or a 42.2? That could be my prediction. Curse, he matched his time he got very close to his time in Q1, and both of those would be done on a new set of softs. His first used set run didn't go quite well, but went back out and took the top spot in the last session. Can he get close, or can he even potentially beat him out to pole position? It's not always the wisest place to start on pole around here, as you got, as soon as you get past the source, you've got a huge straight of slipstreaming each other all the way to the Lacombe chicane, and it's quite easy to lose place even if you're on pole and leading that train. You ain't got any slipstream advantages from counter head. There's obviously no DRS assistance. You're just relying on your battery use, and if you blow all your overtakes straight away, you could become under threat later on in your lap. As then you've got the long back, curvy back straight. I know I said curvy and straight in the same sentence, and it might not make the fullest of sense, but it did in my head, and that's good enough for me. So, here comes Axel then. He's the first one to give it a go in Q3. How does he do this one? Slams on the brake before the 50 metre board, and again nearly turned into a double lock-up into the source. He's struggling with turn 1 at the moment. It's costing a little bit of time. That time becomes very vital in Q3, but up the hills we go, keeping it above 180 through there, which is good top speed. And let's see what actual top speed he manages to achieve here. We've got 206 with Curse, it's 207. 1 mile an hour quicker, it's a 31.0 in the first sector. We'll keep an eye on other times as Stead starts his decline. Down the hill we go, through turn 8 and into turn 9, quick flick. Had to go into 4th gear there to get it extra rotated. And into P1 we go, looking at other times. Curse has responded quite well, but just slightly slower than Axel in the first sector. 2 tenths off go the other Sabra of Theo and Tom in the Alpine. And the Aston Martin of Master Spread matches them in sector 1 as well. Spreads come alive, 42.9 in the second sector. That's the quickest one we've seen all session from Axel. Curse running a little bit more wing as well than the Sauber, so we'll see how he compares to the rest. Through we go into the bus stop chicane. What can he do? Oh, the exit isn't great. Lost the back end. It's a 42.1. First lap done. I just realised it wasn't actually. There's a lot of people matching 31.0s in the first sector. 43s and 44s are coming up through the rest of the screen though. Godwin couldn't quite do it on a 42.9. Wales got Jesus ahead of him and they're both on flying laps. They're going to hold it. Well, Williams going to be held up slightly. Curse 31.1 for the first sector. Sorry, I completely miscounted. He wasn't actually on the lap. I was looking at someone else. I got that distracted and that hopeful. Spread goes 4th with 43.7, 43.3 from Tom, 44.4 from Theo. What's Curse done in the second sector? He's on 43.1 even. Can't get my numbers right today, lads. So he's going to be behind here. Unless he's really tapped the fan of Kane here. A bit too much high curb. It's 3rd fastest. The Mercedes of Harry is beating Curse by 2 thousandths. And he takes up P2, gets alongside Axel on that front row, but it's not over yet. That was the first run of laps. Robbo, the only one who didn't go for it because he probably only got 1 set of tyres to use. Well, sorry, 1 new tyre to use. So with that being said, first run done, advantage Axel by a significant amount, 6 tenths to be a bit more precise. Huge gap, huge ground to be made by chasing drivers of Curse, Harry, Godwin. And in terms of who leads that midfield pack, it's close between Tom and Whale on 43.3, spreads a little bit down on a 43.7, closely followed by Jesus, and then you got Theo who's a little bit further down there on a 44.4. And it's all nice to see what Robbo could potentially do. Could he potentially squeeze ahead of the Sauber? At least being ahead of one of the Saubers would be pretty helpful in terms of that constructors battle between Red Bull and Sauber. Most of the cars are headed back into the pits. But yeah, definite huge advantage to Axel, even despite the back end moment in the final corner. It suggests that he could get close to maybe, on the off chance, breaching a 41. If he gets a 141, I'll be very impressed. And in all honesty, for Axel, you just cannot fault him. He is being completely and utterly spectacular in qualifying at the moment. He's completely aced pole positions all around. I think he's got the longest pole position record holder at the moment. The only track where he didn't get it, technically, was the sprint race at Britain. In that session, he did get beaten by Apple in the Mercedes. First driver to come back out for their second run then is Tom in the Alpine. He sat on a 43.3. He'd have to find over a second to try and get on a challenge for pole. If he finds more than half a second, he might get in with a chance of trying to pop it on the front row. This final run is mostly all related to driver confidence. They've had multiple runs in Q1 and Q2, and it all comes down to this final run where you're going to be the most acquainted to the track you could possibly be on a low fuel situation. You know roughly whereabouts the grip is, how hard they could push with corners. Some of them who are a little bit wayward might try anything they can to try and push the limits to the absolute maximum. Will some of them push a little bit too hard? Who will take pole? Like I say, at the moment it's looking comfortable and confident with Axel at front. Huge margin, 6/10. Can the drivers close up? Can they get on ahead of him? It's a big ask. Kurse has matched him in the first part qualifying. He hasn't had a hands for him yet in this third part. I'm sure he would like to get right up there. But here comes Tom. First one on the final lap of qualifying. Heading up the hill we go. DRS activated down towards the Comp chicane. He's got to pick the limit of the braking point here. He does so just before the 50-metre board. Gets hooked up to the first two apexes of turns 5 and 6. Through 7 we go, and then downhill braking for turn 8. It's a tricky braking turn here with the downhill for letting it naturally run right and flick it left pretty quick here through 9. Not too shabby. 31.0 matches everyone so far in the first sector. P1 pretty comfortable. Bit of understeer, but nothing too major. Major time. That's not allows at the time for references. And heading towards the end of sector 2. He's 7/10 up here. It's looking pretty good. This is looking like he could challenge to get on to the front row here. The only major braking point he needs to think about is the bust-up chicane. Not really sure if any speed through Blanchmont there. Heavy braking here. It's not too deep. Nails the first apex, nails the second one. Good straight line towards. Here we go. He's on to the front row at 42.3. Here's spread. Teammate Theo has already done the sector 1. He's a 31.1. 10th of his teammates. A 31.2 for Robbo. A 31.1 for Jesus. What does Spreader do? Up by a 10th on his previous time. It's a 30.9. I believe that is the purple sector 1. How does he manage going downhill through the rest of the track here? Gets a little bit wide on entry to turn 9 there. That's going to compromise him a little bit of time. Into P1 we go. Lift on entry. And then back fully on the throttle. A 30.7 from Godwin in the first sector. That is very quick. That is definitely the quickest. He beats the spread's previous fastest set to 1 time. And at the moment, I can say Axel is improving as well. Spread to 43.6 though in the second sector. Definitely running a lot more straight line speed. Czechoslovakia is out. Robbo does 10th. Jesus does 8th. What can Spread do? He's dropped down to 9th as Theo puts it in 6th place. He gets ahead of Theo and just slots into the 42s. We've got Godwin, who's mighty in that first sector. Mighty second sector from Curse, 42.8. It was a 43.0 for Godwin. This final sector needs to be amazing. And he goes on pole provisionally. But can he be beaten by Curse? No, he's crossed the line in 3rd. Can Axel get back up? He's currently not up on his times. All in this final game where he lost the back end. This time it's cleaner. Does he get back on top? No, he's been beaten out by Godwin, who takes pole position here at Belgium with a mighty first sector. How did he do that? Huge siege there from Godwin, who finally snatches a pole position. From what looked like it could be Curse the one to potentially challenge Axel, out of the blue from left field comes Godwin, who must have had an almighty epiphany in that first sector and managed to just match Axel's set 2 time of a 43.0 and then blitzed it as hard as he could around that final sector, and that has literally saved him. 400, less than half a tenth separates them. He'll be happy with that, considering he was complaining about the lack of pace. Huge. Absolutely huge. I can tell you in the chat, he is very happy with that one. Oh, and I've also just realised there is a lobby reset. Oh, looks like somebody is getting fired. Well. Well. Controversy. Controversy here. Absolute controversy. And we need to switch the screen over so don't get copyright, because I don't know if that's still a risk yet. We'll go back to this screen. Controversy then, as someone accidentally left it on regular corner cutting. So some people might have gone away with a few track extends, and that kind of explains why I didn't see really any invalidations coming through. I would have thought we would have saw a lot more invalidation, and that is an interesting thought. I don't know why. Yeah, that could have. Yeah. Oh well. So we'll have to wait here a few minutes whilst the lobby is reset. In the meantime, we'll quickly remind you of the standings. At the moment, and actually feels quite good to say this, everyone has got some sort of point on the board. 1 point for Ollie, 1 point for Vice. Lovely. Lovely stuff. That's, it's taken 4 rounds for everyone to get a point. Nice. I like it. Castle. So Godwin taking pole here, not exactly the best of places where he wants to be on this circuit, but if he thinks tactically into turn one, here's a thought, lads. When you think tactically about going into turn one, if you just go a little bit wide, let whoever's in P2 at the time so snake their way in, attach to his arsehole, go up a Rouge and Radion, blast it, back into P1 you go. And then you're in sector 2 where he'll be, a face full of dirty air. Bob's your uncle. Personally, I think that's a fantastic strategy. I do not foresee any problems at all. I think that'll work out perfectly fine. All jokes aside, that actually could be a pretty big shout. Not gonna lie. Like real big brain thinking here. That's what you get when you tune into these streams. You get all top quality strategy information, top quality race reports, top quality banter. That's the key thing. Top banter. You don't see these sort of lines coming from Crofty or whatever the other guy's name is who occasionally been doing it. I can't remember his name. Oh, what's his this is gonna really bug me. And just I know exactly what will happen. It'll be randomly throughout the night. I'll just wake up and go, that was his name. But I can't think of it now. The guy who does it normally for Radio 5. Yeah, I've gone completely blank. I have no idea. Not a dang clue. Not a big dangly clue. So, people who need to capitalise on a few decent points to try and climb themselves up the order. Theo, he needs a good race result. He's had good, decent qualifyings, but he needs a good race result. It's all well and good, getting the car up there in qualifying, getting it as close as you can to your teammate and all that. But if your points, you don't score points at qualifying. It's just helping you set your car up in a decent position for the race. Needs to work on just keeping it clean, through the race, not picking up any warnings, not picking up any penalties. Penalties are a huge thing in this game. Especially if someone makes a mistake and speeds into the pit lane. You get 10 seconds. It's a 10-second time penalty. Cut through, however harsh you think it might be. It is what it is. If someone makes that mistake towards the end of the race, after the last stop, they're going to be buggered. It's a lot of time to try and brake on the cars behind. And if you don't have any penalties to your name, 3 seconds for exceeding track limits or like that, you can really capitalise. And like I say, with the track limits now being typically stricter than normal, it plays in hand quite well. It is a good way if you're not exactly up there with the pace of the front runners or the front midfield. It's a good way to secure yourself some points. And the ability to also stay within a train of cars is also a key thing here. Matching with the same point of not picking up any penalties. If anything happens, someone goes off, someone goes slightly. Especially around here, you got gravel tracks right on the exit corners. Someone goes slightly off onto the gravel, they'll be a bit slow. You got a chance to then make a move into the following corner, or get enough slipstream and pass them on a straight. there's a few tracks that have got new gravel tracks right on the exit corners that you can capitalise on if they make it a bit difficult for themselves. And what's another demonstrator at Monza? Which, if we look, quick look at the calendar, I think that might be the next track. No, it isn't. It's Imola. Well, Imola again, though, they've got gravel traps. So there's another track where you can capitalise on stuff like that. Whoa, I'll tell you what. Imola, not too bad. Miami, there's a few close by walls. But you get some couple of tasty tracks there. You got Japan or Suzuka, which is a sprint race. That's going to be a juicy one. That one usually throws the order in a bit of a mix and drivers on edge. Even the really super talented ones like Axel. They'll be on edge. It is a pretty technical and difficult circuit, especially with the high curbs. Set to one, those curbs set to one are bloody deadly. Let me just do one. And then you've got the master of them all, Monaco, which unfortunately I'm not there for streaming on that one. Yeah, no. Holidays and Leeds Fest, to be fair, there's going to be a lot of people away for that one. It's peak holiday season, And then you got Monza, and then after Monza, crucial thing to remember, guys, there is obviously that 1 week break. A lot of that time will be if there's a lot of parents that race in these leagues, gives them time to settle their kids when they go back to school because September time. And a lot of people will get back off the holiday period and back to a busy lifestyle and all that. Gives people a little extra break the last few days of summer. And a bit of a cool down. Well, I think having that week break is actually a lot better. It gives people a cool down time, a little brief, little period of rest. It's not exactly, it's not the most exhausting. You're not actually driving the real car. Psychologically, it's better for you. Mental health and that. Stay in good condition. I'm rambling on here, but we're finally getting back in the session. Where I will take you through. The drivers have got about 3 minutes here to put on their setups and start their strategy. Don't forget your setups, that's the crucial thing here. But what we can do is go through the grid order. Which, looking at it, we've got Godwin on pole position, beating out Axel this time, but he's still starting on that front row. On the second row, we've got Kurse and Tom, strong pairing there. Newcomer Harry in the Mercedes, reserving 5th place spread, another decent qualifying position, P6. Wales, I'm pretty well in there, 7th place, Theo in 8th. Jesus, a much better run here in P9, that's not too shabby. Robbo doing quite well to secure himself this position in Q3, but stays 10th fastest. Floyd Pink in 11th place, Vice in 12th. Psycho Lemmy 13th, a bit much down the order than he would have really wanted. Atkins 14th, same again. Vapor 15th, who's definitely out of position there. Akadre, arguably out of position as well in 16th. The other Mercedes driver, which I'm pronouncing his name because I'm probably getting it wrong and butchering it, in 17th. Scott 18th. Davey Norris in 19th. And Dark Lord down in 20th. We've got a few mixed tyre compounds there, but we'll go through them when we're on the formation lap, as those could still change in this last little minute. And what also gives me a chance is to have a bit of a drink, because this is too hot to handle. It really, really is. Refreshing. Lovely, lovely stuff, that. So, well, you've got exciting. Oh, you can see the miserable people in the VIP stands with the garages. You ever notice how a lot of times those people in the VIP areas, most of the time, most of them look absolutely bloody miserable. I'm not just talking the game, I'm talking real F1 here. Most of them look absolutely miserable even. and and then when you occasionally get the camera switched to them, it's like, oh, best put on a happy face and try and look somewhat interested, even though I'm just here for the catering and the expensive champagne. The VIPs. It throws me back to the time of actually good Silverstone where the marshals going around in the clean up the rubber and debris off the edge of the tracks were getting cheered on by the crowd to the grandstand, and then when the paddock pass people came around in those tall vans and buses that were around the track, they all got booed massively by every single grandstand. It was funny. Very funny. Probably not funny if you're the people on them, but yeah, it's funny for us. Right. So let's have a look at the old tyre situation as possible. They're soft to medium as possible. Okay. I would not have thought that. It is only 22 laps, with it being the longest circuit on the calendar. 44 in a full race distance. So Godwin and Paul, he's starting on the softs. Obviously. It is just what he does. He always does this. Medium runners further majority of the field, and then also on softs you've got Theo, Psycho Lemmy, Vapor. Understandable, trying to get some early positions. An alternate strategy to some of the teammates. Hard for Akadre, Scott and Davey Norris. Now we have seen Scott start on the hards before. He did that at Saudi Arabia, and look what that earned him. He earned him a P3 finish. Bearing in mind he did get helped out with the safety car, but you've got to, in all honesty, especially in league racing, at an amateur level. Do you call it amateur level? Yeah, not exactly esports professionals. Well, we've got people that are pretty esportsy pace, but we're not esports professionals. So when I'm amateur league racing, safety cars are very much possible. You cannot discount them in your strategy, really. It's sometimes a risk you might want to take if it's like too early, or if it's bang on right for you on the hards, and you get that cheap pit stop everyone else pits as well because they want fresh tyres. All tyres, as we know, are useless compared to new tyres. So, stuff like that helps massively. We want to keep the tyre screen on here actually because we've got that many different ones. I'll lose track and who started on what, and who, when, why. But Godwin on pole, not exactly the most ideal place, especially if you're leading out of La Source. But what we got to know is what happens after La Source. Here we go. We have got 5 red lights here. And we are green at Belgium. A steady getaway from the front 3 there. And I think the Ferrari of Curse got a bit bogged down as Tom gets alongside him. Going round the outside into the source. Does he hold that position? Just about in the background. You can see into the barrier goes Jesus. Into the wall as he makes contact with, I think, a Ferrari of Akadre. Yes, it was. So both asses now towards the back along with Akadre. But leading still is Godwin. And he had a good run up the hill and got a decent gap to Axel, who becomes under pressure from Tom, who has a look down the inside going towards the comp chicane. He's there still, but he has to now defend from the Ferrari on the inside of Curse, trying to make that move, trying to get that position back, but he hasn't quite been able to do so through turn 7, and then has to back out to think about a little bit of defensive moves. The Mercedes had a little look down the inside into turn 8, but couldn't quite make that move. Godwin still leading. The use of them soft tyres actually proven very useful, and those guys at the front take it very differently. Whale goes off the track. Through the gravel trap he goes, and that is Floyd Pink going up to P9. He's had a pretty decent start. Look at the start Vapor's had. He's up into P8 from 15th on the grid. Great start. And great Scott. He's moving up the field. He's up in P16 on the hard tyres. Hard tyres are going to struggle in the opening stages though. Out of the race goes Davey Norris. He's crashed. Ray Russell dropped it on the film on a safety car. Literally the exact same spot, and he is out of the race. Virtual safety car has been deployed, although I believe yes, it has been upgraded to a full safety car. And into the pits come Godwin, and Axel's followed through. Kersnell. I tell you what, I know exactly what all these guys are doing. That coming into pits, they're putting the hard tyres on and going to the end of this race, because the hards, and we've said this numerous times, are bulletproof. But those who have already, started... Oh, there's a bit of collision incidents going on as people are going into the pit lane. That's 10 seconds for Vice. Luckily, you'll be able to serve that straight away. But hards, as we all know, are invulnerable. Those people that started on hards, some of them have actually even gone into the pits on the basis that you get that tyre change done and dusted, and they have to switch up their strategy now. Cyclemi Akadre have gone onto the mediums. Dre's also looking like he's going to be repairing potential damage, as he had contact with the Haas of Jesus at turn 1. The other Haas is out of the race. Robbo is down in 19th place. Tom leads ahead of Spread, Whale and Scott. Jesus, all those top 5 did not pit, but they obviously still have fresh rubber on them. Not exactly going to be any different to those behind, who are all on fresh hards, apart from Dre and Lenny, who have gone on to the medium compound tyres. The only other person who started on those the only other person who started on the hard tyres was Scott. He's a little bit disadvantaged here, but if he gets another later safety car, it could well and truly be saved. You'll still have the same sort of pace as those guys on the hard tyres. They'll just be a little bit easier to warm up as they're already a little bit scrubbed in, but not too much. You'll have a little bit of a benefit from that one. Meanwhile, Whale, Jesus, Spread and Tom still on the medium tyres they started on, and again they'll be a little bit scrubbed in, warm up a little bit quicker, and we'll still have a pace advantage over those that have even pitted on to fresh hards. That's just how they work. Hards do take time to warm up. At this track they'll probably take 2 or 3 laps to get up to a optimum performing temperature. When they really start rubbering in, they scrub the new shine off the top of the surface and get the marbles and sort of rubber it in. Exactly like I said, they rubber in. I must have said it a fair too many times there, but Whale, we move. Oh, look at that. Mike's invited me. Thank you. I needed that. Dick. So, up 14 for Scott. Up 4 for Jesus, Whale and Spread. Up 3 for Tom. Those did pit. Those that have pitted are obviously going to be down on their previous positions. Bars Vapor, who's up 4 still. He had a great start. The other Mercedes driver, I give up. He's sticking the yes in. It's a terrible joke. Atkins up 1 as well for RB. Datlord up 3. Down 9 for Robbo. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. And Robbo, in terms of restarts recently, especially in terms of PRF1, they haven't exactly been going great for him at the moment, but steady going. It's a long race. There's plenty of time to go ahead, and they're going to the end of this race. They've got to stick with some sort of train when they start overtaking cars and all that. He's actually got to carve his way through the field. It's not going to be one on strategy now. Strategy is sort of being mostly eliminated. The only difference is obviously the top 5 who are yet to pits. Confirmation on... Oh, that's the wrong one. Confirmation on your screen there of those who need to pit and do their mandatory tyre change. Weather looking fairly overcast then, dare I say, probably going to stay like that. I know it still says virtual safety car, but we can physically see the safety car on the screen. And we know it's out. And we're probably going to have that stay up on the screen for quite a while because I don't know if they fixed that yet. I guess we'll find out. My guess is probably not. Has Curse dropped it? Curse has dropped it under the safety car. Well, that's not ideal. He's making his life even harder for himself. And he drops down the order. In fairness, you know, the other guys around don't have to necessarily let him through. He made the mistake, he went off track. They do not have to let him through. You know, if they want to be a bit gentle about it, they can do. But if he makes a mistake, it is what it is. You're gonna head down, deal with it, get cracking on. Now, Tom is going to be hoping that the cars behind become a big buffer from those who've pitted and try and get a... well, all those guys sub 5 are going to try and hope that they get as big a gap as possible before they do have to come into the pits, because in about 7 or 8 laps time those hards are going to definitely be much quicker than the mediums, and by the time they get in, they'll be a lot less worn. It is going to be a big rush for those mediums to just push as hard as they can, get as big a gap as they can, and potentially pray for a safety car. But safety car restart led here by Tom. He controls the pace and he controls when the race gets restarted. Up until the first safety car line is when you're allowed to then overtake, which is there. And he literally left it till that first safety car line, which is impressive. So there we go. We are green racing. And you can already see some people tempted to make moves there. That was Vapor on Theo, trying to make a move with the bus chicane. Now has to do it all the way into the source, hanging it the long way around the outside. Gets the extra grip and puts the power down, and he is through. Good move there from Vapor. Good stuff. But he's now going to be under pressure going up the hill as Vapor's got, Theo's got the slipstream in order, but he uses the deployment of the battery, and now Curse looks to get ahead of Theo, going down the inside into the chicane. Off the track goes Theo. He gets very close to contact and does have to sacrifice that position, otherwise it would have been a bit illegal to keep it going off the track. Meanwhile, out in front, Tom has already extended the gap over a second to spread. It's only one racing lap until DRS is activated, so that is going to be a very crucial. Scott's also losing out to Whale. He's, like I say, he is on the hard tyres, and you can see him maximum under pressure from Jesus behind, who's on the mediums. Godwin's following quite closely as well on the hards that he's pitted onto, so Scott struggling a little bit for pace here. He's not going to have any DRS benefits in the car ahead. It's too far back. Over about 3 seconds is the gap to him and Whale. And here comes Jesus. He's going to have a go round the outside. That's brave. Scott was not ready for that one, but fair play. He comes through, and look at that. That's Godwin also trying it down the inside into the bus stop chicane. They go. Hasn't quite got the gap, and that's allowed Axel to get alongside on the exit. But more power usage there from the Williams to make sure he doesn't quite lose out. That was a key move there for Jesus, and that might also help Scott here, as he's going to pick up the benefit of the slipstream and the benefit of DRS going up past Radion. Here we go then. DRS is obviously now activated, and the safety car sounds gone. That's actually really good. Oh, but look at that already. Godwin flies past, and he's going to have some DRS benefit as well off the back of Jesus, and he's going to go straight up into P4. Axel also gets ahead of Scott. Scott wasn't getting enough benefit, or not using enough power, and now Axel is all over the back of Jesus here. This is a straight fight. These guys need to do this as quickly as possible. But Jesus is just going to be able to hold on to the back of Godwin here because of obviously the tyre benefit from medium still. Wide goes Jesus. He might have picked up a 1 if that. He was all 4 wheels past the white line. Spread has nearly been able to crawl it back to under a second. It is just hanging around there for dear life. Godwin's now got a 2-second gap to catch up to Whale in P3. But he's also got to remember that they do have to pit at some point. A look further back towards the back of this train where you've got Curse running the rear, Flood Pink some 3 seconds off that one, and also some other big gaps falling a little bit behind as he gets a little bit hairy-larry under restarts in the back of the midfield, and they're all separated. But all these guys running very close together up behind Godwin as Jesus Scott are all trying to maintain as much as they can in terms of position and time to the cars ahead. They've got to aim to stay within DRS. It is gonna, as much as it doesn't give a huge benefit anymore, it still helps quite massively in defence or offence. But I think we're going to see Axel use it in offence. Here he goes, pulls out and clears Jesus easily before the braking zone, and now follows up behind Godwin. Further back, side by side, Scott and Vapor. Vapor manages to squeeze his way past Curse for a moment, looked to try and have a look round the outside into turn 7, couldn't quite do so. Lockups all round going down into turn 8 before flicking through 9. Okay, so just going to have to wait here, and again he's going to be losing crucial time because Scott really struggling with pace, especially on them hards, and he's one who hasn't pitted, and to be fair he might have benefited from pitting, and Curse really now struggling to get past, and he's now over a second behind Vapor in that pack of cars that have been chasing after Godwin, and they are quickly approaching the likes of Whale. Spread's got back within a second of Tom. Tom's pushing on the hot lap deployment to try and get as much speed as he can on the straights and keeping the acceleration up at outer corner exit, and he's got the gap 1.1 before they cross the DRS activation or detection zone, I should say, and that's crucial. But here we go, Axel's going to get a benefit of DRS, and Godwin isn't going to be able to close up enough to Whale ahead. Goes quite deep into the source with a lock up on the front right. The front rights are going to be screaming if they keep doing that all the way through this race. Curse still able to find a way past. He's going to have to do it on the big straight up after Rouge and Radion. Quickly flick back to Axel as he bears down on Godwin, uses a little bit of overtake to help with his speed, and he goes through and ahead of the pulse hitter and is in a net P1. Retakes technically the lead of the race. Like I say, top 3 yet to pit along with Jesus and Scott. Further back, Robbo and Rice, I nearly said Rice, having a battle into the gum chicane. That's Robbo getting ahead with the DRS assistance. Remembering that the top, well, not allowed to do that. Retiring on the track is a big no-no. That could have been dangerous. Third Outlord there. Outlord has had to come to the pits at some point again. What tyres did he? What tyres did he go in? He got back onto the mediums. Put the tyre graphics back on so you can see those a bit and those haven't. So Godwin running 5th behind Axel. He's managed to stay within that DRS zone, and Whale comes into the pits. He's pulled off an undercut attempt on the top 2 as Spread nearly 2 seconds down on Tom. Tom now starting to try and pull away as much as he can as fastest lap was set by Axel last time round. But here comes Godwin. He is very close, and in fact he's all over the back of that side, but he's going to get alongside on the exit at Radion. Huge stuff there, and already through before DRS is even opened. Lovely stuff, and Jesus is going to have a chance to follow up here. He's not going to get close enough to make a move. In fact, that explains why he's running no ERS whatsoever there. Once this is all gone on, let's get the app back up and see if we can see some tiny worse statistics. Because that will give us a bit of a better idea of how well these guys are doing. Or if they're doing not very well at all. Who knows? A lot of battery management though, safe to say, from Axel. Switch between no deployment and maximum deployment of overtake. That's an interesting one in fairness. But you lose out a lot on acceleration, and you really have to concentrate on flicking your button on and off all the time. It's an interesting one. Dare I say, might not be working out. not the greatest. He's able to burn off more battery than saving, really. In all honesty. Godwin quickly catching up the Aston Martin of Spreader. Go on board with Spreader actually as he approaches the source. Curse this time sets the fastest lap on a 45.5. He's running in 8th as Vapor picks a penalty. Akaj's got penalty. Vice has got penalty. Few people carrying penalties at the moment. Not exactly ideal there. Dipped under 180 mile an hour. Shaving off too much top speed there as you can hear the engine visibly sort of moan out. But here we go then. There's a Curse passing Vapor here, although Vapor's going to fight this one back. He's got the inside line into turn 7 and stays ahead. Good defensive driving there from the McLaren. Placed his car in the right place, managed to keep alongside enough with the Ferrari to warrant that space. And to be fair, if you're doing that and you're on the inside line into turn 7, that's almost a God-given move there. It's sort of when you're on the outside line side by side with someone going towards turn 7, your hand is sort of forced. There's not much you can really do about that one. There's not really much ways to go. You either accept that you're either going to potentially run it right onto the gravel or have contact. You'd rather do neither of the things, so you have to back off a little bit. So Vape actually managed to squeeze his way past Harry here, but Harry's still got that inside line there. You make a little bit of contact, a little bit of argy-bargy, nudgy up to the bus stop chicane, but I'll unsettle Harry a little bit, but he's got a good exit out the bus stop chicane and he's going to go for it on towards the Salisbury Go. In fact, he is ahead, but he's not going to have that assistance as Vapor is sideways. He locked up. You can see him, his rear just slid under braking, locked up, and he's gone round and whoa, really lighting up the tyres. He saw the cars coming, he wanted to try and stay ahead, but not quite happening. He'll still pick up DRS though, as he was step behind Harry before that incident occurred. Meanwhile, Spread under pressure, losing the back end there as Godwin flew by. Axel for a moment tried to get also past at the same point, but sort of conked out by Spread, just getting a bit unsettled in the Aston Martin with the medium tyres. Currently 11-12% for the tyres of Axel. So, as I said, like these hards are bulletproof and they're going to easily make it to the end, probably under 30% by the time we get, well, probably only at 30% by the time we get to the end of this race. Not the hugest in terms of pace, but they're not doing too bad against some medium runners at the moment. He's on 2.4 off Tom, and they're passing Spread at the moment, and Spread's really holding up Axel here. Axel's going to get a bit uncomfortable here. He needs to fly past straight away, and he is doing so as yellow flags are out. It's Vapor. Vapor's gone off again. This time in sector 2. He's got back on it. Isn't too far off. I think his tyres might just be a bit too hot. And that's, will we be able to see that? No. Oh, no, we can. His rear tyres are way too hot. Unbelievably too hot. Ooh. tell you what, Scott might be too happy about that one. Gets forced off the track there by the Alpine on the exit of the bus stop. As action, here comes Axel to re-overtake Godwin. Godwin's going to give this one a bit more of a fight. He actually slips back in for the early slipstream here, but not enough battery to go too crazy there. Spread drops down to 4th. He's got Jesus right behind him, who's really not doing too bad at all. Vapor is out of here. There's a bit of a disconnection. He's knocked out tyre situation. Medium runner Jesus, who's stayed out, running at 23% maximum on terms of tyre wear. It's not too bad, but they are getting a bit worn and they'll be thinking about pitting. Remember that Whale went for the undercut on all these guys. He's running in P12. Have a look at the leader intervals, nearly within 20 seconds of the race leader. So ultimately could be getting ahead of Tom here by the time he comes into the pits. Undercut might work, but he'll become under pressure by the time they come out of the pits. It'll be pretty close with Tom, but it'll be quite clear of Spread and Jesus. A bit more of a gap in hand. And bearing in mind that these will have to then warm up the hard tyres, or will they go on to softs? At this point, I wouldn't be too surprised if they do. Up onto the soft tyres. We've got a big gap between Lemmy and Harry, 10 seconds between them two. I'm going to say Lemmy and Akadre, the only ones that pitted off the hards onto the mediums under that safety car. There'll be a bit of an ask for them to get to the end. They'll be hoping for another safety car, I'd imagine, as Jesus gets past Spread up into P4. Spread struggling a little bit more here. 26%. Oh no. Not quite. Might be running even higher as I will. We can't really tell. I don't think you can tell on the steering wheel either now. I wish he could. That'd be nice. I think he actually really is struggling with tire temperatures because he's a bit oversteery as Curse. Oh, Curse does go through, goes off track wide though. I think there'll be too many complaints about that. He did kind of make the pass before he went off the track, but did he go too deep on the brakes? That's a question for you guys to answer. I'll let you decide on that one. Would that be a potential situation where you'd be on the blower saying, "Oi, he overtook off track"? I'm sure that'll spark debates for a while if it was real F1. F1 fans will do anything they can. No, we are leaving out. So, Axel ahead of Godwin. They're closing down on Tom a bit quick here. 1.3 seconds is the gap out in front. Godwin just hanging back a little bit. Still getting that DRS assistance though. And they've cleared onto the ones of Jesus, Curse and Spread. Harry as well is in the background there. Approaching this battle for P4. In fact, Curse is going to have a great run here on Jesus. And dare I say, he's going to fly past up. Ahead of him he goes. Up into P4 for Curse. It's not being the best of races here for Curse. He's had that moment under the safety car, which cost him a lot of positions. And a bit out of sorts. Got beaten out by Tom as well, going into turn 1. Qualifying gave away a bit in the end. You know, don't get it wrong, it's a good position, but podiums is what he's aiming for, really. As in the background, that was Harry almost finding the pass on Mr. Spread here as they go into Puon. Spread's all over the show. I reckon he might come to the pits this lap because he really is just sinking down the order. Jesus isn't exactly going along too great either. This is a good time here for Spread's pit. Go for that undercut as both of them are struggling and they're losing a lot of crucial time to Whale behind who's going to easily clear. And the longer these guys leave it, the only option going forward will be going on to softs. It's a little bit too early for that yet. About 13 out of 22. But they got to think about that, and they got to make that decision now rather than later. Do they say, screw it, go on to the hard, stick the safe option, or do they go softs early and risk being slower in the latter stages of the Grand Prix, or do they hang it out for a few more laps and risk losing chance of re-overtaking Whale? Here's the battle for P1. The three of them all close by. Axel's gonna go for it. Godwin's also going to look at getting past Tom. He's not quite got the overspeed to try and get ahead of Axel. Has to do it under braking. Will still get ahead. Goes a little bit wide through 5, but gets it back together through the rest of the track, and it's cost him a lot of time. That Axel's putting the foot down. It's a bit of role reversal here, and I think Axel is going to look. He's going to notice that gap he's got away. He's got so much battery compared to Godwin. He's got a real good chance here of breaking that 1 second gap, where the car behind will still pick up dirty air, but he won't pick up DRS assistance, and that slipstream will be significantly less than what it was. Axel now pushing 19% on the tyre wear at 14 out of 22. Like I said, that we might not even get to 30% tyre wear for these hards. That's how bulletproof they are. It's slightly disappointing that they are a bit too bulletproof, because that early safety car just sort of settled it. Those that stayed out, yeah, to be fair, their only option is to stay out to the point where they can go on softs. Tom thinks that time is now. Tom comes into the pits. Godwin nearly loses DRS. I think he might have just clicked in it. Let's see what tyres go on Tom's car then. Pulls into the garage service. It is soft tyres. This is going to be qualifying pace after qualifying pace for Tom here. He needs to do it. Otherwise, he'll have no chance of being able to potentially try and claw back a podium. We'll have a look at the leader gap as he comes out of the pits, and he is ahead of Whale. Whale couldn't get ahead. That was nearly bye-bye back end, but he's going to clear Psycho Lemmy here. Up straight go, he is through and up. It's P8, 19 seconds. It's about an 18-second pit stop, really, though. So, can he close 19 seconds in less than 10 laps? Qualifying laps. All he can do is qualifying laps. He can't do anything less. If he makes mistakes, that's it. And he's doing quite well here, leaping through the traffic. That was a key card to make a pass on. Theo, Axel's teammate. That was a very crucial pass. Meanwhile, out in front, the gap is now over a second. That's another crucial moment there for race leader Axel, but it's hovering. Godwin's pushing at the times where he needs to push to get back within the gap. Meanwhile, Whale on the exit of turn 15 gets past Psycho Lemmy. I think it might be 16 actually. Banter. It is 16, what am I about? Into the pits then comes Spread. Psycho Lemmy's in for a second pit stop. He's also switching onto the soft tyres. Scott's already made a switch to softs as well, and he's running outside the points at the moment. He's got a bit of a gap to try and close to get in the points. Remember, it is top 15 that score points. Currently outside the points is Vapor, Dat Ward and Floyd Pink, as he comes into the pits as well actually in response. So Scott's put back into P15 now. Tom has got 12 seconds to close on Harry. He needs to really get a wriggle on here. It's becoming more and more of a done deal out in front. We've got a lot of penalties in order. We're going to update you on the penalty situation, as there's a few biggies there. 3 for Curse, and Harry and Tom, 3 for Jesus, 9 for Dre. There is a 10 seconds of ice, but something tells me that that might be removed as Curse gets ahead of Godwin. Curse makes it up into P2. He's doing his best here to try to recover the item, still on for a podium. That's better. He's been able to come a bit more alive in the latter stages. We've got yellow flags out for a rare RB. And there's a red, it's an RB. Atkins is at a moment. And Spread is going to take advantage of a sad moment here. I'd say for Spread and... I couldn't think of his name. Tom. Oh, Tom's already way ahead. Spread and Jesus, that's the name I was thinking of. For Spread and Jesus. I couldn't think that. I'm brain just completely shut down. For Spread and Jesus, they need to clear Whale. Then they've sort of done the probably a good enough job from what the situation they found themselves in. Really, I think staying out was the wrong choice. The right choice was always to pit. I think no matter what, in the end, I think the people that started on the hards were bound. They couldn't do out. I think this will be the first race where we'll be a little bit disappointed with strategy development here. So Vice, his hards, he's done 15 laps, the highest of 23%. We'll go back to Axel, who's out in front. What's his highest? 25%. So he's got a bit more time. We're at front. As Atkins picks up a penalty, but yeah, I think this is going to be a little bit more disappointing. We've had plenty of people cutting through the some of the slow cars, some of the slow fields, and Curse has had to fight back through the field a bit as he had that moment under the safety car. But Godwin, he had pole, good run that pace, but overall race pace at the moment. Again, we're seeing the Axel dominance. I think Axel. He's let Spread as his fun. He's let him have his fun, and now he goes back to the top spot. I think. Still got time. 5 laps, or 4.5 laps to settle this one. Godwin still in hands of Curse, but Curse obviously carrying a 3-second time penalty. Godwin looking to return to become the P2 merchant. Oh, he's gonna hate that. And we're gonna laugh. Here we go. Theo running in P6, he's doing very well. This is a lot better than Theo. But he's going to be quickly under pressure. We've got Jesus right behind these two on the soft tyres. Spreads not too far, some 3 seconds back. Dare I say, he will close in on the final stages of this Grand Prix. It's all about finding the right time, and Wales still being applying the pressure to Theo behind as he looks left and right. He's trying to find a way past, but I think the best situation for Wales, trying with some DRS, but that could be bad as Jesus for a moment thought about going down the inside, but that door was going to close. Whale goes a bit wide, but the battery, so the lack of battery from Jesus is going to prevent him from making a move here. Meanwhile, Theo, they're all pretty low on battery, the advantage Whale in terms of that situation. Theo's going to be panicking stations. Bad exit though for Whale. He's going to have to recover it here at La Source. It's the only saving grace. Godwin gets back past Curse along that said straight. Now Theo's got a bit of a gap, but I don't think it's a big enough one, as here they come. Using their deployment. Here comes Jesus on the back of Whale and all over the back of Theo. Jesus slips it down. Theo conceives those two positions and he goes back down to P8. But a top 10 finish here will be pretty good, and it'll be good points for Sauber in terms of the closest teammate pairings. And if you look to the closest rivals, Aston Martin, Williams out the points. Williams just running in the top 10. Red Bulls, both of them are outside the top 10, but they are running in the points. They could get a few extra positions though. They've got a lot of penalties around them. Vice's 10 seconds, I'd imagine, might get removed, because it was a contact situation. I think they just bunched up in the pits. So, Jesus all over the back of Whale again. He's not got a threat from Theo. Theo's actually too busy looking at Spread, who's going to go for it here into the bus-stop chicane. Late on the brakes. Theo trying his best there to fight it, but just not got the grip compared to soft runners. Tom is not done too bad. Gap down to 5.4, but I think P5 is the best he'll be able to achieve here. Kirsten Goldwyn still fighting away. Axel's just managing that gap. He's not too worried about that with the penalty situation behind, as long as Goldwyn doesn't steam through. Jesus still not past Whale yet, but here he goes. This is the one that's crucial. But 3 seconds sits on Jesus' name. He's now going to get a 3-second gap in a space of 2.5 laps. It's an ask. He's going to have to pump out some qualifying pace here. Like I say, the ideal for these guys to get ahead of Whale, to say, right, this strategy was worth it in the situation I was in. If not, a little bit disappointing. And Whale, his strategy is just staying ahead of these guys. It works both ways. Stays ahead of one, it's half worked. Doesn't stay ahead of the other. Sorry, if he doesn't stay ahead of both of them, it's not really worked. He's got the best position in terms of all the other guys around him that are already pitted. And Tom, in fairness, he's responded. He's got that gap down to 2.4. But we've got 2 more laps to go in this Grand Prix. However stale it might have been. Psycho Lemmy is now getting within DRS range of Akadre ahead. Akadre could be quite vulnerable. He's on those mediums that are going to be a bit cooked, considering we're at 30% for the time we're on the hard runners. Only just. There's valuable information for the louder guys by the time to come to this at the end of the year. Here we go then. Here comes Spread on the back of Whale. These guys both don't have penalties. Whale still got that DR assistance. He's going to have to do it late on the brakes. Sends it up the inside. Not quite close enough. Does he get a switchback manoeuvre? No, not close enough to try that one on through 7. But Whale saved with the DRS off of Jesus there. Spread just not able to close in enough with the overtake usage. Saving a bit for the last lap, I'd imagine. Jesus is going to lose out positions to both of these guys behind. Theo's dropped back quite heavily now. He's got no pens to his name though this time. As if anything happens up ahead, as that's Harry getting clearly passed by Tom. He makes it up into P4. Not too bad. Good recovery in the situation he was in. And let's have a look who's got the fastest lap. I couldn't remember. Oh, it's Tom. It is Tom. Tom's got the fastest lap at 1:44.3. Yeah, it's the right thing to do for those guys that were on the mediums was just pit with everyone else. That's what that's proved. It's proved though at this track at least the softs aren't too bad. So that's good news. But saying that, 7 laps in, they're already hitting the 30% range. So overall, they don't have an advantage over the hard runners as we are on the final lap of the Grand Prix. We look towards the front. If Goldwing can keep it penalty free here, you clearly get a P2 finish. Curse is clearly on track for a P3 finish, and Axel's clearly on track for a P1 finish. Nothing much to say. It's been a pretty overall dominant performance. I mean, there's been times where Axel's been behind Goldwing and all that, but overall he's had the pace advantage today. He might not have quite got it on pole position, but he's got the top spot where it matters in terms of points. As he heads down towards post up for final time, Curse is going to go for it. On track at least. So unless he's got some sort of chance on getting that penalty removed, he'll still finish behind. As, goes off the track in protest. So across the line, Axel wins the Belgian Grand Prix ahead of Godwin and Curse. Further back we await Tom just next to the chicane ahead of Harry. Not too bad from Tom to secure P4 in that situation. Jesus hasn't quite got the gap on the cars behind. I think Wales just sit ahead. It's going to be close. Yes, he gets ahead just there at the end. 5/10. Almost. Nice try for Jesus. Theo's going to get a nice P9 finish. That's good points for Sauber. Atkins will drop back behind Cycle, then he will secure that last top 10 position. That's obviously points scored down to 15 for all these guys pretty close together. Lots of big back end moment for Vice. 10 seconds unserved. Dare I say that will get removed to bring him a bit further up the field. So he might look like he's dropped up the points, but I think he will still pick up more points than one than last time out. We await just for download to finish. It's not been the best of races, has it? Like, let's not butter anything up here. It could have been a bit better. The safety car really did sink all of it down. Here we go. We'll get our top 3 in for the podium interviews. This confirmation then. Top 3. Axel wins ahead of Godwin and Curse. Fastest lap at the end went to Tom at a 1:44.3. And the last of the points scorer provisionally goes to Scott. Although, as I'd imagine, Vice's 10 seconds may get removed there, in which case he'll drop outside the points. Scott struggled pace-wise out there. Just slipped away from him all throughout. Give the admins a good little run over the ultra standings. We await still for Axel and Mr. P2 Merchant. Oh, now we're just waiting for Mr. P2 Merchant. Yeah, he'll be very happy with that one. Here we all are. Rightio. Well, we'll kickstart things in traditional format with race winner Axel. Yet another dominant performance from you. And the thing I want to talk about is in terms of qualifying there. Just on your first lap, it just seemed to set away from you in the exit of the final chicane there.
I mean, the chicane itself was a big improvement from my first QT run, but I bottled it in sector 2. There was the right left-hander. I nicked the curb and the car was about to drop on me, so I had to lift off and lost like a tenth or something.
No problem.
So that was all gone from me.
No problems. In terms of your race, overall dominant race pace. I know at times you did sink a little bit behind Goldwyn, but able to follow him through as you were both cutting through the people who didn't pit in the end. But just that thought of when that safety car came out, was it a done deal of instantly pit to hard to go all the way to the end, or was it a follow everyone else in type of situation?
Nah, it was obvious. Go for hards. Absolute mistake to stay out in that point. And when I was behind Josh in the beginning of the hard stint, I didn't know that I had my ERS turned off. So I was like using overtake and then thought I went back to medium, but I went to none. So I like struggled to keep with him,
To be
and
honest,
I
I
couldn't
thought you were doing.
understand why.
I thought you were doing a different sort of new thing there. I was like, oh, is he trying something new here?
No, yeah, but then I realized, and it went better. We got past the medium runners. Josh locked up, so I got that 1 second gap, and with that I managed to make it 2 seconds. Then they tried to slingshot each other into me again, and they would have done it with like 2 more laps, but yeah, it was a done deal. At that point, I was so consistent until the final lap.
Fair enough. Godwin, I should say, Mr. P2 Merchant, yet again coming to your favourite finish position of P2. Slightly better than you were last week, from what I can see in the results. But race pace, not quite there in terms of your qualifying pace, which was a lovely lap, by the way.
Don't know where it came from. Beat my personal best on what I thought I could do by miles. So I'm definitely not complaining about it, but you'll never see it again.
Purple patch on there, been and gone.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
again, was it again like Axel said, a done deal? Go to the hard as soon as possible when that safety car came out.
Yeah, I looked before the race because I was trying to help Voice with strategy, and I seen Haas could do the full race if we started on them, so it was the almost obvious thing to do. Because pit stop at Belgium's long, it's a big track, it takes ages to gain back time. Because I seen that Merc, I think it was, tried it on softs, and he's never gained after he hit 12 seconds behind. So it's definitely the right call to stay out. I mean, stay on, go on hards even.
Absolutely. Not too shabby overall. A good points haul, keeping your team up there in terms of the constructors battle. And Curse, the first thing
Hello.
I will say, what happened under the safety car?
I was weaving and then I weaved too much and then slammed on the brakes and locked up. Didn't go into the wall though. I saved that one.
Just making your life a little bit harder in terms of having to go through that extra bit of cars. I mean, without that little cock up under the safety car, do you think, because you got quite close towards Axel and going at the end, do you think that would have been potentially able to challenge Axel out in front, obviously minus the track limits penalty?
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't have been stuck behind some of the drivers, and then I had two incidents with a driver who moved very late on a straight, so I had to slam on the brakes, which is nuts. And then I got pushed off a couple of laps later, so I lost a lot of time from that. And then, but to be honest, it was quite disappointing. I was disappointed really with my pace and stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. Moving on to what we have next week, it is the lovely circuit of Imola or Emilia Romagna or whatever else you want to call it, with whatever ridiculous name they come up with next. Axel, your thoughts going on to that track?
Now, I need to get some laps in for sure. These guys have an upper hand on me this time, I think.
Fighting talk for the other two. Godwin, your point?
Mike was muted sick. I really like the track. It's a very good track. I've done it once this game and it went really well. So hopefully it goes well again. I can finally win and not get P2 for like 100th time in a row.
trying to clear his name. I hope not, for the sake of Bunce. And Curse, your
Congrats,
thoughts?
Chris.
Yeah, I like the track. Just one thing I'd note down is I expect a lot of time penalties for track limits because the curbs are very, very annoying.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see people disqualified with them. It would not surprise me. Well, that is all we have time for. Thank you all for watching at home, even though it might not have been the best of races, but I'm sure all will pick up next week. Tune in with me tomorrow, though, where FPR 100 take on the legendary Suzuka circuit for a 100% race. It's going to be an absolute belter, and there might be a surprise return name coming back to the world of Formula One League racing. Stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching. Good night.